Yeah.
Anyway, some nerdy news.
Nerdy news.
Now, you've got a list of things that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to ignore all of them because there are 2 bits of breaking news that have happened while we've been recording.
I think one of these I already know because I've seen it as well.
Yeah. SAG-AFTRA
Yep.
have SAG-AFTRA members who work on video games, i.e. voice actors, are going on strike because of AI usage in video games. This is a developing story. I've not had a chance to read their full breakdown yet, but the long and short of it seems to be no voice acting work on video games is going to happen while the strike is in place because of the use of AI.
Yeah, and it's like all the big studios it's going to affect.
Yes. And as always, we will be supporting the strikees completely. Everyone has the right and should be supported in the fight for equal pay, opportunities, and being treated fairly. Other bit of breaking news, which isn't that breaking news, but I'm just going to throw it in anyway because I saw it while we were live. The Boys Season 4 has passed 55 million views of viewers, which is an increase of 20% from Season 3.
Nice. And all those people were like, this season is worse.
So the people saying Boys bad now, it's worse, no good anymore. Clearly you're the not so silent minority. Right, now into the actual news. Or into the planned news.
Yeah.
We finally got a Fantastic Four cast photo.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, there's a little group shot of them all together.
That is my first family.
Cousin looking good.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I'd also be hugging Pedro Pascal like that if I could.
They said they have been building a bit of a rapport with each other since they got cast, and they've been getting to know each other, so that they had a bit of so their chemistry is a bit better before getting to set. And obviously, a picture is just a still image; you can force them.
Yeah,
but they look like they get on. You could imagine that being the Fantastic Four getting ready to go on a spaceship and have their lives changed, Trevor.
Yeah,
I like the castings. I said it when not all castings I expected or would have chosen myself, but I think together, which was a big thing I was saying, they suit each other.
They do, yeah.
And I'm very excited for it.
Yeah.
We've discussed this a fair bit recently, and it's finally happened.
Yeah, it's something that I've said that I thought was going to happen for a long time.
So the rumor initially was that Max and
Paramount Plus
were going to do this.
Yes.
But instead, it's now Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max are doing a streaming bundle, which I believe is currently only available in US territories.
Has to be, because we don't have Max.
Where you can pay $17 a month for all 3 services with ads, or $30 for no ads. This is just cable.
Yeah, this is what I've said. Streaming sites. I said it probably way back when we first were starting this podcast and talking about streaming sites and stuff. The amount of streaming services all getting more expensive, people have started picking and choosing which they want. For them all to manage to succeed, there was going to become a point where someone's going to go to all these streaming services and be like, hey, we want to bundle it, and it's going to be the modern day cable, modern day Sky, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to say this once and once only. There is only one streaming platform that does not have to worry about me deciding to cancel when I decide I don't want to pay for them anymore.
Who could that be?
Dropout motherfucking TV. I took a chance on Dropout because of funny TikToks.
Yeah.
I showed Jenna a couple of their old episodes that were on YouTube, so she got a vibe of it. And then I looked at the price and saw it was like £50 for the year. I was like, fuck it, should we just buy a year of it and see what we think? And we are both like, this is 50 of the best pound we've ever spent. This is not an ad. But Sam, I've been here the whole time. If you want to do a little deal, let us know.
No, honestly, I was similar.
It's literally out of all of the streaming services I pay for, they would when you're like, oh, if I ever need to save some money, these are the things that I cut out straight away. That would probably be the entertainment source that survives the longest.
Yeah.
Netflix gone, Prime gone, Disney Plus gone, Dropout, Trevor.
Yeah, no, like I obviously knew of Brennan from the D&D side of things. Knew they had most of their shows on Dropout. And I was like, it's like maybe a bit of a stretch to like. I love D&D, but I don't love it that much to maybe want a whole streaming service just for the D&D shows.
Yeah.
But then when I found out that there was like all these other things going on there now and all the comedy stuff, I was like, this is very intriguing. And yeah, this is a great streaming service. I mean,
absolutely phenomenal.
With the Disney Hulu thing, I actually think the Max and Paramount Plus, where we were thinking maybe it's like a joint bundle, I actually think that could just be a merger that's going to happen.
Quite possibly.
Disney and Hulu is already kind of together, so I mean, if you get Max and Paramount do merge, that's a hell of a bundle because you're essentially going to get like 4 streaming services.
True. Here's my actual issue.
Go on.
We know residuals are dog shit on streaming services. They are better post the SAG-AFTRA strike, but they're still not as good as they need to be. And that is the only reason they're doing this. They know they're recreating cable TV. But what do they get by doing it this way? They have lower operating costs.
Mm-hmm.
It's infinitely scalable theoretically.
Mm-hmm.
And that you give the illusion of choice even more, because you're choosing to pay for R1, you can cancel it at any time. Whereas when you're paying for Sky, you're not going to use 800 LEM channels.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? You're going to get free loads of streaming sites worth of shows. They know you're not going to watch, like, maybe 1 in 1,000, maybe like 1 in 10,000 people will watch everything because they're like binge everything they can. But
I would much rather, instead of doing it this way, Disney Plus go, here, you can pay less money to just have Star Wars or Marvel.
Yeah. Honestly, I still think my predicted idea of like someone sets up a thing where you can pick and choose which you want and it gives you a bundle price, that would be the better option.
Mm-hmm.
Because
then like this is $30 a month is outrageous.
Well, yeah, that's the thing as well. Like, where you could be like, oh, I've not been watching Max, so I'll cancel it for a couple of months. This is like, oh, well, I'm stuck paying. I still want Disney Plus, and you're less likely to cancel when one of the things isn't giving you stuff you want to watch.
Absolutely. And on the other side of the streaming world, Apple TV is not doing well. So they are going to be scaling back spending after they spent like 20 billion in the last 3 years on it. They're getting less views per month than Netflix is getting in a day.
I mean, I don't know what they expected. Like,
Apple TV's put out some very well-received shows, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
I think they're just all original, though, aren't they? They're not bought any
also,
TV.
Let's be real. Netflix has a wider reach. Apple TV, there is still like, if I think of Apple TV, I'm like, I don't use Apple stuff. Like, I don't want Apple TV. I know it's like a separate box you can buy and it doesn't, but like, unless you're like, I feel like Apple TV is so like reliant on Apple consumers. They're not like they're so that brand's so like they want you to pull into their ecosystem and only use their ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas like Netflix and all those things, you can get it on any TV, any like there's no limitation in that sense of how it's delivered.
This way, Jenna got a brand new phone, and as a result, she got like 3 months free of Apple TV. We used that to binge Ted Lasso. Then we cancelled it, and not for a single second have I gone, oh, I wish we kept it.
Yeah, like
there's just something weird about Apple TV that is just not enticing in the slightest.
I think they should do what they did with Apple Maps and just scrap it and they used Google Maps. Just give up and just put up like just do something to make the streaming services like run better on Apple.
This is my thing, right? The big problem I have and the big concern I have is big companies refusing to be the thing they are and they're trying to be everything, which is actually scary because they have so much money to burn that they can become everything, and then it kills smaller companies, and then you're left with 4 companies.
Yep.
Amazon are doing it scarily well.
Yes.
Microsoft have done it scarily well for a long time. I'm kind of glad Apple TV's failing. Yeah. Apple need to be a device manufacturer and software manufacturer. That's it. I don't want an Apple car. I don't want to see anyone driving an Apple car. Just like I want Amazon to be forced to scale back. Because here's the thing, monopoly laws don't really apply if you build it all yourself. And when you've got a company like Amazon, for instance, or even Apple, who can kind of afford to just take a loss forever until all the other competition dies, and then they're the only fish left in the pond, and then they price gouge the fuck out of you, like we've literally seen Adobe do.
Yeah.
That's what's scary to me. So, yes, it sucks that this is probably going to lead to people losing their job, and the less spending in media is always a bit upsetting. I don't want Apple TV to succeed, and I don't even want Prime Video to succeed. I don't want companies who made a lot of money doing one thing to go to a completely different sector. Amazon started off selling books. Why are they now trying to be a music provider to compete with Spotify and a video provider to compete with Netflix? Why do you want that much control over the fucking world? Mr. Lex Luthor looking head ass?
Here's the thing. All of their products are actually all fronts just to sell their Amazon Web Service.
Yes, and that's even scarier. AWS is, I believe, do not quote me, the only thing that Amazon makes profit on.
I think Amazon itself, they do.
The Amazon website doesn't make a profit. It's never turned a profit once.
Okay, well, there you go.
Not in a single year has it ever made a profit. I believe it's made a profit in like 2 quarters ever.
So then, probably web services their main.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and it's like they don't even make loads of money because obviously they hide it all in ways so they avoid paying taxes. But yeah, it's terrifying that everything runs on AWS. Yeah. People thought that CrowdStrike crash was bad. You better pray AWS never goes down.
Yeah. Do you know what I actually think Apple TV, just to finish off on the Apple TV?
Go on.
It wouldn't surprise me if they do my idea of you get to pick streaming services and you get a bundle price as their way to restructure.
Become a facilitator instead.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Because then that pulls people into buying the Apple TV box product and pulls people into the ecosystem because like, oh, I can get all my streaming services on a cheap bundle.
Yeah. As we briefly alluded to earlier, there's only a few days left of Superman filming.
Yep.
This was confirmed by James Gunn. Someone said that Nicholas Hoult had left filming.
Okay.
So they were like, oh, maybe he's not actually the big bad because he's left and other people are still there shooting. To which James Gunn responded and was like, no, like there's only like 3 or 4 people left. We're basically done. With a year to go, plenty of time for editing, plenty of time for any reshoots if they're needed. I'm very excited for this film, and now we just wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're giving themselves plenty of time for post-production because I'm sure James Gunn has a visual idea of what he wants CGI and all that stuff to look like, but it is the first like example that they're going to produce that then all the other films will loosely have to kind of fit into. Obviously, he said he didn't want to be as strict as like Marvel's been, but they still all have to kind of feel like they're together. So yeah, plenty of time for them to figure things out. And yeah, also very excited for this film to come
out. Joker 2 trailer. Good.
It did. So you have a worry.
Do I?
Yeah, because they're all the artsy people.
That was a bit tongue-in-cheek.
I know.
As you know, I have been very clear that I think we need more films that just try new shit. But I will read out what I wrote because it was funny. Because I'm a hilarious person, if you do not know. Where did I send the tweet to you?
No, I think it was when we were gaming, maybe you said it to me.
Oh, was it? So basically, there was someone who tweeted that it's like the most beautiful piece of American filmmaking in years, and it got like a massive applause at a foreign film festival, blah 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 blah. I was like, oh no, the artsy fartsy folk love it. We're so cooked. This film's going to be shit. I don't think that at all.
No.
Obviously, I want bright colours. I want outlandish stories. I want different. I do still want it to feel like a comic book film. There is always a bit of give and take there. This trailer was enthralling to me because of the way it bounced between similar looking shots but in very different styles, i.e. Arthur Fleck looking homeless, looking normal, looking like Joker, in scenes that looked very similar in location. So I'm like, is he like, are we not going to know what's actually happening versus what's in his head the entire time? Or is it kind of the same thing happens 3 times in a row? Once when he's down on his luck, once when he's stable-ish, and then once when he's the Joker again. I don't know. I'm excited. Lady Gaga might be. Great. No, actually, I'm gonna say this. Lady Gaga is what Taylor Swift fans think Taylor Swift is.
Ooh. Swiftie fans. I'd just like to disassociate myself with.
I think Lady Gaga for a long time has got a lot of shit she's never deserved. I've never really understood it. Every time she's done an acting project, she's treated it with the respect it deserves and not just gone, I'm a superstar as a singer, so I expect to be treated like one.
Mm-hmm.
She's phenomenally talented. Joaquin Phoenix is phenomenally talented.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
It looks good. I think like you say, it's going to be interesting to see what the actual story is. I think the trailer has done a good job of showing us kind of a lot, at least on vibe sense. But yeah, like you say, absolutely nothing story-wise. So
yes,
yeah,
I'm incredibly excited. I think it's going to be good. Yeah, here's the thing. I know a lot of the most annoying people on planet Earth saw the first Joker film or like, this is my entire personality now. I don't think that was overall a bad thing. I think it reminded people that you can do movies about comic book characters in an artistically refreshing way. Joaquin Phoenix has said there's no point doing a sequel unless you're going to risk fucking it up royally. Which, while the sentiment is scary,
yeah,
I do think it's a kind of idea that I probably share, in the sense of, don't be afraid to try something just because it might go wrong.
Well, yeah, like if the first one you do is a push in the creative sense, why would you not try and push it again in the second one? Like, to then just do the same film as again as the second one, you're just doing what every superhero film does, essentially.
Exactly. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
And I hope it's going to be good. And we just have to wait and see.
We will.
Blumhouse are making a Spawn film. Finally, I believe this has been rumoured for years.
Probably. It's probably been on and off.
How long ago did this initially get announced? So initially it was announced back in like 2015.
Mm-hmm.
It's been cancelled and re-brought back, I believe, 2 or 3 times.
Right.
It's crazy. But it's finally coming. It's titled Kingspawn, apparently. I think this is, once again, the kind of film that we need in the comic book space right now. I think it's going to be a bit different. Yeah. I think it's going to be a bit out there. But on the flip side, there's a real danger we just get a very mid-2000s action film. And I mean that in a very derogatory way.
I mean,
was there not a really shit Spawn film in the 2000s already? 97, sorry. Right at the beginning of that kind of era of them films. I kind of want it to be really bright and colourful, because although Spawn's quite like a dark character,
yeah,
he's got his bright red cape. There's lots of like green flames and stuff. I feel like if you want to have a bit of fun with the art direction, the colours and the lighting, you can make it bright and colourful while still giving that dark vibe. And that's what I want.
Yeah. We'll wait and see, I guess. See what comes out.
Again, we kind of touched on this in the San Diego Comic-Con but it is worth kind of discussing as its own point. News is picking up that a Kang replacement's been selected. Because that was the discussion when I forget his name now. Left the role, was fired as Kang. It was going to be, are they going to move away from Kang altogether?
Yeah.
Or are they going to recast? A lot of people were just recast. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Move on. He's a character whose entire deal is there's variants of them. We've already established variants can have different faces. Crack on. Get someone else. There's loads of really good, talented actors out there. Go find one.
Yeah.
And then there was also the concern that they just wanted to distance themselves from that situation so much they would just go chalk Kang as a character.
Well, and also the first couple of kind of introductions to Kang had a mixed responses. Quantumania had not done very well. So there was this worry, this thought of like, do they just cut their losses early and redirect themselves? But I mean, if they found a Kang, hopefully, like we said earlier, hopefully we see them at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And hopefully it gets the ship going in the right direction again.
Yes, I'm really, really, really hopeful for a Kang replacement announcement. This one you sent to me. There are rumours that another Reeves-verse Batman spin-off is in the works. They're looking at proposals to see if there's anything they want to do.
I think this has come since the Arkham Asylum one got dropped. That idea kind of got scrapped. Something tells me we know that Penguin is set after the first one and is going to set up the second one. I wonder if maybe this is going to be their plan with the Reeves-verse. Maybe he wants
film show.
Maybe he wants to set up he's trying to figure out what they do as a spin-off after this next film. I think it was just kind of them exploring ideas and seeing what maybe lands. But it just means more Matt Reeves content, which I'm all for.
Feige has done a number of interviews over the last few weeks.
He has.
So I'm just going to talk about some points that were made while he was doing them. When asked about Blade, he said it's in a good spot and it's moving. He's basically confirmed it's going to be R-rated. He said, along with Deadpool, it's kind of inherent to the character, so his expectation is that it will be rated R.
Yeah, and he did acknowledge that it has been a bit of a mess, which I think is good. Not
pretending everything's okay with this film would be insane.
Yeah. So, yeah.
When he was asked about competition with the DCU in an interview with Cinema Blend, Kevin Feige explained that he'd been complimented on Blue Beetle, and he said a lot of people don't know the difference. And I take that to mean that he's saying it's not competition. We're all kind of working together here to make superhero films successful. If DC does well, it will positively affect us. If we do well, it will positively affect them. But them doing well isn't going to negatively affect us, which I think is completely true.
And a casual viewer not necessarily knowing that Blue Beetle is DC and it's not all just one bit. To them, it's just superhero films. And they just want good films. And if anything, DC doing well just pushes Marvel to keep doing well. And we're going to get better films out of it.
At the end of the day, if you see that Marvel's doing great films that you're in love with, and then you go, oh, DC are doing some. Cool. James Gunn made the Guardians films that I love. He's now doing... And James Gunn and Kevin have such a good relationship... that they will want the other one to succeed, and they're not going to shit talk the other one or try and pit their studios against each other. Because guess what? They don't need to.
No.
There is so much money to be made from their own IPs. Why would they fight with the other one?
The only worrying thing about this that someone thought Blue Beetle was MCU. There's definitely people out there that think Sony's stuff is MCU.
That is absolutely right, and I've said for a long time that this is a problem, and eventually Disney might tell them to get fucked.
I think you're right. But speaking of success,
yeah, the MCU will become the first $30 billion film franchise with the weekend launch of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wild amount of money.
And I sent you a list earlier of the
you did
the biggest film franchises of all time. I've got it right here. So in first currently at 29.83 billion is the MCU.
Yeah.
Second is Spider-Man at 10.61.
Mm-hmm.
Third is Star Wars at 10.34. Fourth is The Wizarding World. I assume that's Harry Potter at 9.66. Oh, it'll be Harry Potter and
the American.
the Newt Scamander ones. 5 is James Bond.
Solid.
7.84 billion.
I mean, it is a solid.
There's
franchise.
A lot of films, yeah.
Yeah.
But when you look at how many of them films were in the old days, still quite impressive. Because I don't believe this is adjusted for inflation.
Probably not.
Fast and Furious at 6, boo. The DCEU at 7, with 7 billion, just over. Batman at 8, with 6.84. X-Men at 9. Jurassic Park 10. Lord of the Rings 11. Transformers 12. Despicable Me at 13.
That's impressive.
Avatar at 14. Pirates of the Caribbean 15. Mission Impossible 16. And what I will believe after their next film jumps up a number of spots, Shrek at 17.
Yeah, that'll jump up.
And then Twilight at 18.
Oh, wow.
But I don't ever want to hear Batman or Superman is the same realm as Spider-Man. Yeah?
Yeah.
There is a whole difference. We're talking tens of billions with Spider-Man. You're down there looking at 6 with Batman.
Spider-Man's standing out there on his own, up with his big brother of the MCU, so...
Put it this way. Spider-Man has had 8 live-action films. Batman...
Quite a few.
Or 3... I believe about 12?
At least.
Yeah? Levels.
Yeah.
Craziness. But yeah, the MCU getting ready to cross that 30 billion mark when barely anyone else has even touched 10 is crazy.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I know they've released a fuck ton of films. Still. Like their average for film to box office has got to be north of 700 million.
Oh, yeah, like, it doesn't take away from how good they've done with the films. Like, yeah, they've put a lot of films out, but everyone has done great.
So, I don't know exactly how many there are, and none of these articles are up to date, of course. But there is... When's this article? So this is July 25th, 2024. So today. Stunning. 34 Marvel movies, according to that article. I'm not going to fact check it right now. But that means...
Literally just under $1 billion per.
Just under $1 billion a film. Craziness. Insanity.
Yeah.
Don't ever claim it's dead.
No.
This is... You know what this is? This is like when Fortnite's average player base went from like 2 million every single second down to 500,000. It's like, it's still one of the biggest games in the world. Yeah, but it fell off. It's like...
Well, no, it's also like...
survive at that level for long.
It's more so like... popular game goes from being like the #1 streamed game, and no one's, and then all the streamers aren't playing it. So everyone's dead game. It's like, no, the player count is still like just as high. It hardly dropped. You just don't play it. Like, it's still here. It's still slapping.
Yeah, craziness. In response to being asked if bringing Hugh back as Wolverine after Logan opened the door for Steve and Tony to return to the MCU, Kevin Feige had this to say. It can be done, but it needs to be handled with great care. Which I think is the exact right answer.
Yeah.
And I also think we're far enough removed now from when they were so exhausted with being superstars.
Yeah.
That they would be more receptive to coming back now.
Yeah, I think we've always said that there is ways for them to come back in a that doesn't ruin their stories in the like the main MCU timeline.
Exactly.
And I think it's being we're going to be proved this with Wolverine in the Deadpool film.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe we do get a Tony Stark coming back as Doctor Doom. Maybe it happens.
And then a bit of news that pisses me off, and I'm never going to forgive Twitter for this. No immediate plans for Eternals 2. That film was a good fucking film that had some unique things that broke out of the stagnant formula the MCU was giving us, and you motherfuckers didn't like it, and you bitched and moaned for no apparent reason, and now it's like a dead in the water situation, and I will never accept it was a bad film. It's not. It's the exact same situation with the Marvels. You are brain dead if you think it's a bad film. Was it the best film in the MCU? Absolutely not.
Well, no.
But it was a good fucking film with unique new characters.
People were so harsh on it because it's like we were fairly fresh out of Endgame and like what people have now considered peak MCU, and it's like the is a point where you can't keep being better on every single project. It's just not possible. So it's like the build up to Endgame, like it's so difficult to ever go above that, especially with the film that's straight after and isn't necessarily tied straight into. Like people were so harsh on it because it's like they held this like bar that was newly set by Endgame, and it's like, yeah, not everything's going to reach that bar because it's not meant to reach that bar.
Yeah. It was absolute insanity.
It's wild that the first time we're probably going to see anything about the whole fucking giant stone guy in the water, I forget who it was, from Eternals.
Titsumi?
Yeah. It's going to be in the Captain America film.
See, I've disagreed with this the entire time where people have been going, why has no one mentioned this? Why would you?
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Like, to me, I'm just like, so much shit's happened in the past, 10 years for the MCU world. The public doesn't care if some giant stone thing appears.
Fuck.
Like, but it's wild that we haven't seen it again.
So it's just one of them things that kind of happened.
Hey, you never know. Eternals, maybe they found a way to bring them back.
Yeah, and there is always a chance we're just being misdirected because he didn't want to say, oh yeah, there's going to be a trailer announced at San Diego Comic-Con in a few days.
Well, yeah, or like he doesn't want to say anything because it's very early. Like maybe there is a very early days for it, but he's not going to say that because